A long time ago, on a comics page far, far away. Greetings and welcome to May the Panel Be Star Wars comic book show brought to you by the Punch Up Entertainment. I am Punch Up Entertainment Network or just Punch Up Entertainment? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's Punch Up Entertainment, and this is on the Punch Up Entertainment Network. We may do other things as Punch Up Entertainment.
That's fair. I'm your host, Mike Ergoni, and joining me, as always, the Tyloon Night Stalker to my dead Han Solo. It's John Campbell.
Hello, everybody. Well, you just had Kolchak on the brain.
I know. I'm sorry.
I think it says Night Raider? Night something? Who cares?
It's definitely not Sauron from the X-Men comics. That's all I know.
Firmly not. Who would even possibly make
This is a loose opening, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Can you tell we've already done one of these today? Yes, folks, though, but it's time to bring this storyline in for a landing. Oh, it's the end. It's the senses-shattering conclusion.
I'm prepared to have my senses shattered, John. I really am. And
I know. I'm still piecing mine back together after I read this.
Yeah, my sense of taste is just completely destroyed.
Oh, yeah, it's gone. Yeah, I took a bite of a peach this morning. Nothing.
Yeah, literally zero flavor.
Yeah, and it was like, damn you, Star Wars comics from the late 70s.
I heard a song by Katy Perry. It sounded like Vivaldi to me. I don't know what's happening over here. What season is it?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Ah, man, here we go. It's the end of... What are we calling this? The Wheel Saga?
The Wheel Arc, yeah. We are covering issue number 23 of the Star Wars comic book that started in 1977, brought to you by Marvel Comics Group. This issue was released May 23rd, 1979. And let's run down our creative team real quick because it's basically the same as this whole arc, which has been great for consistency, honestly.
I will say that it does that is nice, and they are bringing this in for a landing.
Yeah, we've got Archie Goodwin as our writer/editor. We've got Carmine Infantino on pencils, Bob Wyacek on inks. We're changing up our colorist with Carl Gafford this issue, and John Costanza back on letters.
Nice. And Jim Shooter just creeping about.
Jim Shooter, like a cardboard cutout in a Monty Python sketch, leaning into frame and his mouth flap going up and down, suggesting, make more money.
Yeah. Suggesting, I think if we take a look at this cover, going, go where the money is, and put Vader on the cover.
Big and bold. We start with our flight into Fury, and who is this? Bleeding out of the starfield, it's Darth Vader. I want this cover as a t-shirt. I really do.
I love this cover. This would be a great t-shirt. I used to have a cover from way back when it's part of the adaptation, the thing about like, we'll never escape the Death Star, Chewie. I used to have that t-shirt. But yeah, this one is awesome because it says, you've escaped the wheel, rebels, but now you must face the wrath of Darth Vader.
Let's just run it down right off the top. Darth Vader, helmet, is black. His lightsaber is red. Millennium Falcon, correct shape. They're fixing all the issues we had with covers past, John.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. We can just go right past it because I have no notes.
I mean, honestly, like, it's dynamic, it's fun. I love Darth Vader kind of like blending into the star field here.
Very cool design. Very cool as the villain haunting the story. I wish he did a little more than he does in this issue, but that's not my issue with the cover.
John, are you saying that we shouldn't be judging this book by its phenomenal cover?
Well, I think... no, because I think we should. Isn't that the whole point of the comics on the newsstand? And last week, you can go back and listen to our last episode, we talked about Carmine Infantino's rules for a cover.
It's true, though this one actually violates all of them, so...
Because you know what trumps all of those rules? Darth Vader.
It's
that
true.
Guy sells books.
Darth Vader sells books. And we've had him in brief interstitials here and there over the last few issues, but now he's finally going to confront our heroes And no, not really.
Well,
But
no,
anyway,
no. I was gonna say, what are you talking about? Still, he has a pretty brief appearance in this thing. He sort of shows up to go like, "Hello, am I still in this book?
am I going to be in the next movie? Probably. I can't really do much.
My agent is still working out the finals on that contract for the sequel. All right. What if I was Luke's father? There's an idea. I'm just throwing it out there. So, all right.
Thankfully, we have no idea about. We're getting right into the flight into Fury because we're
Flight
back
into
in Docking
Fury.
Bay 10.
Docking Bay 10 of the man-made monument to the galaxy's love of gambling. I love that description so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we find ourselves near the private space yacht that has radically changed shape and color since the last
It is a
issue.
completely different ship. I don't know how you talk about for consistency. It's the same art team, yet there's apparently you can't just look at what you drew. No time. There's no time. Damn it.
I would be very curious to see what Infantino was also drawing in this period to know exactly what was on his desk on a week-to-week basis.
Let me see if I can find out.
Obviously,
I'm not going to stop the show to do it, but
sure. But what I'm getting at is I would be curious what other books he was drawing in between working on this, because I know the Star Wars book isn't the only book he's working on in this era.
Probably not, especially
wouldn't
at
pay
this
the
time.
bills necessarily.
Especially at this time.
Yeah.
I think he's also on Iron Man at this time, it looks like.
Okay.
78 to 82, he was on Iron Man.
All right, that makes sense.
Also 78 to 79, Spider-Woman.
Okay.
Yeah. And then a couple of what month was this?
This was in May.
Oh, then that month he also did a supervillain team up number 16.
Okay. And again,
which saw the Red Skull and Hate Monger in a book together.
When these were drawn and when these were released are two very different dates, so I can't necessarily say that they were created at the same time, but they were released
this is
at the
all
same time.
he's working in this general era we're talking about. That's where he's dealing with, right?
I guess my only thought then is that in between issues of Star Wars in which he vaguely drew the shape of a ship at the end of the last issue, he has also drawn maybe a couple issues of Iron Man and something involving the Man-Ape and Killmonger.
Yes. Right, yeah. And I said he was the chief artist on Spider-Woman, I think, right during this time, too.
Okay. So that's
go.
very formative era of Spider-Woman then. Because that's the original Jessica Drew stuff, yeah?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
That's right when they were establishing her as a character in cahoots with the Nick
By
Fury
the way,
stuff.
Jessica Drew, created by Archie Goodwin.
Hey, there we go. So yeah, we come in on a spaceship that is completely different. Don't worry about it. As we find out that the private yacht of Simon Greyshade is about to take off. We have some text in the background saying, that's it, the main reactor is fully primed. Right as we have some very racist guards telling Luke that they don't like the kind of droids he associates with.
Man, I mean, this is, once again, when you think about just the first movie, this is very much back to, we don't serve their kind in here, right? I just love when you can see, these are the things we've latched on to.
That singular line spawned 3 or 4 character archetypes that have appeared in this book so far.
Yes.
Insofar as, okay, we know the Star Wars galaxy in certain quadrants doesn't like droids because their kind isn't welcome here. Hence, cyborgs, big no-no. Associating with droids, no, can't stand it. Droids talking out loud, stop it. Don't do that. Not good.
Literally to the point where one of our main villains they're setting up, that's his entire deal.
Yeah.
Right? That's his main thing.
Balance the cyborg bounty hunter that we've seen once and mentioned twice now. Is a self-hating cyborg, yeah.
His issue is not that Luke blew up the Death Star, it's that he did it with the help of droids.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Right.
It's very funny to me. All right, so yes, Luke and his droids are being kicked off of the ship, basically in just a "be happy you're alive, pal"
Right. Because lest we forget last issue, and we get some reminders here of that Leia has traded her bodily autonomy for the
Yep.
lives of her remaining companions, because she
Yep.
and all the rest of our heroes believe that Han Solo is dead.
Yep. And in fact, when we go to this next page, Luke is very upset about that because he tells this guy, "Shut up! I've just seen a good friend die." And then, and then, and I'm about to lose the girl the girl just shut up.
Okay, John, I feel like I must at this point institute a new bit on this show, and I think it's beyond
Okay.
time that we started instituting bits on this show.
I agree.
And now's the time.
Yeah.
From here on out, issue to issue or episode to episode, I want you to find the bit that we're reading that makes you go, "Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this."
It's not this. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
I think
of this
I think
issue,
we're in
this isn't it, which is saying
no.
something.
I think we're in strong. Sometimes we might have differences on that, but on this one, we're in lockstep on what the most do. Because literally reading this last night, there's one panel where I went, "Oh, wow."
So from here
Good
on
idea.
out, yeah, we have to find where is our bad feeling about this, and I'm not gonna say we like constantly need to shout it out at the end of the episode or anything, but like when we run into a bit that gives us a bad feeling, call it out.
Yeah.
Say, I've got a bad feeling about this.
I've got a bad fit. Well, I will say this one, I guess then, yeah, does it have to be a singular moment? Because I think this one technically might earn two, because this is one of them.
Yeah.
And then
okay.
I want to understand, once again, this is my guess going to be my segment, but not purposely, but just based on these last two issues. Another follow Luke Skywalker's physicality. What is he doing to that guard?
Grabbing him by the collar and saying, "Don't tell me about somebody I like."
Yeah, he's doing that, but then I'm specifically talking about the next panel.
Oh, well, obviously he
force
is
pushing
shrinking the
that guy?
god's torso by several inches, is what he's doing with that hand
It
gesture.
appears he has now let the guy go and is pushing him so far back behind him that he's like, "Get out of here!"
Well, if you notice, the guard's foot that is behind Luke's leg here has its heel up, so he's hitting him with such force that he is launching that guard backwards and away from him.
Is this canonically our first force push then?
No, I mean, we see the physical, like, whap happening on the chest, so he's
It's true, yeah.
strengthening him backwards while 3PO
And I'll
looks
tell you
on.
how shocking it is. Look at 3PO coming in from the corner of the frame going, "Oh dear!
Oh, yeah, no,
Such
absolutely.
violence!" And what has produced such cold? By the way, is it cold rage? It seems like pretty hot rage in Luke Skywalker. Why it started with this previously on Star Wars.
Well, John, all rage is cold in space. Come on.
That's true. In the coldness of space, it doesn't matter how hot you get.
Ooh, there's
That's
a tagline for the porn parody.
Yeah. Yes, we flash back to, oh dear God, Han Solo was murdered by his best friend Chewbacca. No, the space smuggler's Wookiee first mate forced to be his executioner.
Ooh, so grim. There's
Absolutely.
no way this could possibly be undone. Why would Han Solo die in a comic book? No.
That can't be. I can't believe this. And then a very distraught Princess Leia, not only dealing with the fact that Han's dead, but going, "Fine, I will turn myself over to you to do with as you please," basically, right? Yeah. I got a bad feeling about that, but still, it's nothing compared to what's coming later. But
Yeah.
and Luke is all what this is that thing we talk about with this book and it being of this time. Right, that you're like, what Luke is just like, I can't believe you're going off with him. Like, mad at Leia somehow?
Yeah, like the fact
is
that
such
Leia is essentially sacrificing herself to try to get Luke out of this untenable situation,
Yeah.
and Chewie for that matter, and the droids. So the fact that
Yeah.
she's trying to like self-sacrifice, he's mad at her for making that choice.
Because look, Luke is this book has consistently leaned into some of the worst aspects of Luke's character from the first
sure.
movie. This whiny, petulant teen. Oh no!
But John, he's the young Star Warrior in Moisture Farmer clothing.
By the way, this really struck me. Star Warrior, one word?
Now it is.
Because Star Wars isn't one word, but Star Warrior is.
I think it's because the justification of the panels and the indentation made it so if they put a space there, it would throw off the spacing of that paragraph.
I think that's literally the case. They probably will use Star Warrior as two words in another issue, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he's out of there. And even 3PO doing the look back at like, yeah, man, forget about her.
I think Luke is less mad at Leia. Luke is more mad at the situation and taking it out on everyone around him.
But Leia, then we go to the next panel. Leia's like, don't walk away mad, Luke. Not like this.
I've got a bad feeling about this, John.
I've got a real bad feeling about this next panel when they full-on make out. Ah!
If I may. The embrace is clumsy. The kiss awkward. But as he watches from the yacht's hatchway, Wheel Administrator Simon Greyshade senses feeling and emotion he can never know.
Here's the thing, all right? This is one of my big problems with this conclusion. Greyshade's entire personality turns on a dime.
Yes, right here, in a scene in which a brother and sister are making out.
Well, I guess maybe that actually does add up for what I think of this character, but it's just, he's been such a sociopathic rapist, right? I mean, or at least, sexual predator. And then all of a sudden he goes, oh, wait, humans are capable of emotions? Oh, I shouldn't interfere with that. What?
But no, specifically what this does is trigger in him an awakening that he needs the bonds of friendship. And so by the end of the issue, we're turning to our sexiest droid imaginable, Mastercom.
Oh, I am so happy about the end of the Mastercom storyline. It's so good, and it makes
so
kind of no sense. Yeah, well, they are. We talked about before when they start introducing those threads. Are they going to pay that off? As like they do, but in a really weird kind of just all of a sudden manner. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really.
Oh my God. But yeah, okay. So we get this out of the way. Luke and Leia kiss. Everyone's weirded out because we now have 30 years of context. Let's not dwell on it.
Yep. And the next movie that's coming out will raise the stakes on this even more.
Okay, here's my question for you. And I know there's maybe a definitive answer, but there's also an answer that George Lucas gave, and they're probably mutually exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
As of Empire, we find out that Darth Vader is Luke's father. And obviously that's something that's like debated as to when that was actually decided.
Yeah.
When Yoda says there is another Skywalker.
Yeah.
Who is he referring to? He's not referring to Leia.
He is not. And I highly recommend and then you've read it as well, the what the hell is it called? The Oral History of Star Wars book that was out a couple years ago. It's great.
Secrets of the Force?
I think it's Secrets of the Force. That does sound right. In that, they do talk about the outlines they had for stuff. And
yeah.
That Luke's sister was going to be a separate character than Leia. The plan was always that Luke would have a sister. That is definitely set up by the end of Empire. But that was when Lucas was talking about doing a 7-movie arc initially. Because that was the initial plan, was I want to do this as a 7-part story. And then through the making of Empire and subsequently Jedi, he's like, these are taking a lot out of me and I don't have enough, so I'm going to just sort of collapse everything into Jedi as my ending. And then that sort of became like just cut away. Because there was also a whole subplot about Han Solo's father being like royalty and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff in there that just kind of like a lot of stuff just got excised or condensed. But yes.
The book is Secrets of the Force, An Oral History of Star Wars by Edward Gross and Mark A. Altman. And yeah, I highly recommend that book. It's
all of those guys. They've done a few of those oral histories. Their Star Trek one is great. Their Buffy the Vampire Slayer one is great. The Battlestar Galactica one. They've done a bunch of those. The James Bond one, of course, lest I forget, which I loved. So all those are fantastic. But yes, no, Lucas had a lot of pieces. So Luke was always going to have a sister, but it wasn't going to be Leia, basically until they wrote the script for Jedi.
So, as of the writing of this comic, these two aren't actually siblings. Again, let's not dwell on it. Moving on. Hey, it's Han's dead body.
Han's corpse, and something that always gets me, a smoking laser gun.
Don't worry about it.
That always weirds me out whenever I see that drawn.
So Chewie, for a brief panel, has turned into like one of the critters from the titular Critters movies.
He's got a straight up stash on that close up. Look at him.
I mean, I'm talking about this left panel here where his legs are attached at like a central node.
Yep.
That is his head.
Basically, each one of these panels draws him differently, and all of them are weird.
Yeah, Chewie's got... Infantino just, like, can't draw Chewie to save his life.
Infantino, yeah, I just like, it's the bridge too far for him. A Wookiee.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, he's got to take out this... Sorry, I'm going to get it right this time. Tyloon Night Soarer.
Oh, Night Soarer. I'm sorry, that was too stupid to remember. Night Soarer, come on.
Who, again, is a weird purple pterodactyl man who sort of looks like Sauron, the X-Men villain. Also,
yeah.
Now he's got like a Green Goblin thing going on in that third panel there.
So, I will say, like, things that aren't specifically designs from the movies... They really rely on a lot of comic monster tropes that are not helpful to this book.
Oh, yeah, 100%. They look weird and out of place, and something that Jack Kirby would have designed, not something that fits the aesthetic of Star Wars.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like I'm waiting for Devil Dinosaur to show up in this.
But thankfully, Chewie, who has just killed his best friend, is ready as this purple pterodactyl man swoops in, and Chewie lets out a rock, and as we turn the page, shoots him right in the thorax.
What I like about this is you actually see the blast going through him.
Yeah, and it like deflects at a weird angle, which raises all sorts of questions about these needle rays. And that's a really thick laser for a needle ray. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I know. All of a sudden, it is thick and girthy, that laser blast. Yeah, I'm just gonna let us sit in that.
Look, Girth Laser is going to be the name of my author name when I start writing erotic fan
Girth
fiction.
Laser. That's a real Space Mutiny hero name. Girth Laser. Hi, Girth Laser. Yes, Chewie kills this guy. And then, what's this? How can it be Han Solo alive?
There's literally no fanfare to this. It's just Han turning his head while floating, doing the dead man's float in space, going, okay, stop gloating, champ.
And then it's like, but how did this happen? Well, what you didn't know is that we completely cheated the ending of that last thing to undo this, right?
Remember that bit where Han was concealed by smoke and then he swam out of it? Well, while he was in the smoke, he stuffed something down his shirt so that he could get shot and not die.
Sorry, this is just objectively bad writing, right? Like, no, wait, what you didn't know, because this is getting close to that thing about like, okay, you're kind of just lying to us now, like.
Okay, so they had to put on that performance because they're being like broadcast, right? So like there is this sense of, okay, what we the reader saw is what the viewers on the wheel were watching, I guess.
Right.
And so this is retconning that in that, no, that was a performative act because they were putting on a performance.
Right. But they, like, once again, because we saw it that way, there's all that thing about, like, there's no other way, and then the stare down and all that stuff, and it's just like, oh, so all of that was horse shit. Great.
Unless, like, the shot of Han's face was him winking, right?
Right, yes, exactly.
But,
you know what would have been better is leave all that shit out and just show it from the perspective of the other characters watching on TV. That might have been the better way to do it, where it's like they see it without context, but we actually are in the moment and they're hiding stuff from us. That's the kind of thing where I don't like that. This is a real cheat. Of course he's going to be alive, and you even know that reading it, but it is just like, oh, that's it? Oh, God.
Right. But we have Han saying, as Chewie again swimming through space. Let's not worry about how that makes any sense. Grabs
it's not
Han's
really
floating
space,
corpse
though.
and begins to drag him out of here.
Begins to drag him out of here, and their whole plan here is like, all right, here's how this is going to work. You insist that you have to take my body. Only you can handle my dead body, and so then you can get me out of here.
Mm-hmm. But also,
and
don't shake this plate out of my shirt while you're doing it. That'll be a dead giveaway.
And then what? They'll make them, I guess, continue to fight to the death? Well, they did say earlier if one doesn't kill the other one, they'll both be killed, which makes no sense.
Sure. I mean, it's Hunger Games rules, right?
Yeah. I mean, and it's Roman gladiator rules. But or Hunger Games, whatever your history is.
I know where my history ends, and it is with Katniss Everdeen.
And see, I go more for a Russell Crowe if I'm talking about gladiators.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I'm sorry, Craven's dad as his most famous role.
His most iconic role as Craven's
yeah.
dad.
Yeah, forget whatever he won his Oscars for. It doesn't matter. It's all. It's Craven's dad.
Oh wow, that movie's gonna be such a fucking train wreck.
Yeah, we kind of have to review it though, right?
Look. I'm gonna watch. You made me watch Morbius, so we're gonna watch about fucking Craven the Hunter.
That's the thing where I'm like, that movie's gonna be hot garbage, but that is gonna be a great episode. I feel like. Right, actually, put that right in below. Right in below. Do you want us to review Craven? I know the answer. No one's ever voted no to any stupid suggestion. Like in the history of the internet, nobody's ever been like, no, don't do the silly thing.
Do you want to support our masochistic decision for the sake of entertainment? Of course you do.
Yeah. And I also want to drag comic book continuity nerd Brendan Jones to that movie.
Wouldn't he just die watching that movie? I feel like that movie will just kill him.
The trailer wounded him badly, so...
Do you want to know why they call me the Rhino?
Oh my god. That's the thing about that. Not to keep getting into it, but it is like, boy, you think the Craven stuff is bad, and then that happens, you're like, nope, wait, this is even dumber. All right, back to this
Speaking
book,
of dumb, we cut to a green-haired candy striper who is
You mean
turning...
this space gambler?
Yeah, look, there's a lot going on with this, like, general gambling populace in this issue, so we're gonna have to get used to these crowd shots of weird aliens.
Can I tell you about my favorite alien, though? Is this sort of, like, half-heartedly colored alien on the corner of the frame going, Arr!
Look, maybe his face is just stuck that way. You don't know. Though I believe he is one of the horn-nosed guys from an earlier issue.
I think he is.
Before.
Well, because they're upset about, what is this? The Wookiee was a favorite. Computer pay lines are long.
Right, so everyone's, like, the big game is done. Everyone's getting in line to get their money if they won anything. And meanwhile, Strom, the Imperial commander who got drugged last issue, is stumbling through the hallways screaming that there's a rebel plot underway.
This really made me laugh. Just the idea of this drugged guy going like, hey, everybody look over here. I've been drugged. Oh.
Rebels. It's all rebels. It's rebels.
Like, if this is the Vegas of Star Wars, people would just be going like, well, somebody had too much, I guess. Jesus.
Yeah.
This is
it does the thing that you hate again, where he's talking and then we cut to a shot of outside the wheel space station having changed shape yet again.
Oh, why do they do that? I hate it so much. And now I have no idea who's talking.
I think it's just Strom through all of this.
Despite throbbing head and churning stomach, Strom smiles inwardly.
Yeah. Okay. Years of immunity programming him.
I love that so much.
Enabled him to fight off a sleep drug meant to hold him for hours. So I guess as an Imperial officer, he has had training to resist drugs?
That, even in Star Wars, that seems nuts. What?
Also, what is immunity programming?
Yeah, they put this guy in enough like meditative state that he was able to like up his immunity factor.
Yeah,
What?
he like the Bene Gesserit from Dune. He can control his internal biochemistry.
It makes me think of the Office thing with by just focusing on it, I can raise and lower my own cholesterol. Why would you want to raise your cholesterol? So I can lower it. It's that
So-
it's that dumb.
What I'm pulling from this is that Strom has been roofied enough times that he has grown resistant to it.
I mean, I think maybe that is it's the Batman thing, right? Where the idea is that Batman basically microdosed himself with every known poison so that none of them can kill him.
Such an insane concept.
By the way, I think the Stormtrooper is supposed to be like mid-salute in this panel, but it looks like he's like, sir, excuse me, I got a question.
I assumed that's what he was doing, like him raising his hand, and his dialogue here is, "What are your orders, sir?"
Yeah. I just had I got just a couple clarifying questions. Excuse me.
So Strom is kind of riding high here because he finally has an excuse to declare martial law.
Oh yeah, that's the thing I do like where he's like, simultaneously he's like, I feel poisoned, but also, oh yeah, baby.
Find Administrator Greyshade and those rebels from the Millennium Falcon who sought refuge on the wheel. Kill them all on sight. So now the Empire has been unleashed.
And then for reasons I don't understand, they really took a liking to this green-haired woman when we take the... She is the voice of the gamblers of this station, basically, right? Like,
Yeah, so at this point, we get a lot happening in just a few pages, including the
It's a lot.
appearance of Silver Age Professor X for a page.
how can I don't know, if only Jean Grey ever finds out how I feel about her.
Yeah,
Talk
Strom
about I've
is,
got a bad
is
feeling
shaded
about
and
this.
colored here to look like Silver Age Professor X.
Yeah, that is very much the case here. So they that's some early Neil Adams X-Men art there.
But you talk about this
So they-
green-haired woman like speaking for the people. I think this like weird cucumber man in the background is more speaking for the people at the moment.
Yeah, well, because it turns from like, hey man, are we just gonna let this happen?
And the cucumber man says, "I don't like gambling with stormtroopers looking over my shoulder, but if it keeps us safe from rebel attacks such as we've had recently, you know, those attacks that the Empire has faked, then I'll accept it."
These as long as they keep the damn rebels out of our business, am I right? Am I right?
And there's a
I'm
couple
not?
of aliens
Okay.
in the background here that look Star Warsy, and there's a couple that look, I don't know, like something from the Dark Crystal. That guy on the right there with like the bug eyes and the
Yes.
horns.
Yes, the guy. Yes, the bug eyes and the horns. How about the guy with a furry face, but his eyes are where his mouth should be?
Oh, you mean the guy that has a tribble for a head?
Yes, the famous Star Wars character, Tribblehead. That's what I love about Star Wars character names. We've talked about this before. Some of them are very complicated and future sounding, and some of them are just very on the nose.
I mean, it's where you get the whole like glup shido thing from, right?
Yeah.
That, to explain that briefly, that's like an ongoing meme among Star Wars fandom and beyond of just like, oh, what's the two Star Wars characters' names? It's a glup shido. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the real one that's, of course, everyone's favorite is Sleaze Bagano.
Sure, and that's part of where that comes from. Is there's a character in Attack
Yeah.
of the Clones who's literally named Sleaze Bagano.
And some kid got that action figure for Christmas and was very sad.
You want to buy some death sticks?
I'm going to go home and think about my life. It's a funny scene. Very funny
Yeah,
scene.
sure.
But, yeah. That character's name is Sleaze Bagano.
So, yeah, apparently Cucumber Man speaks for the whole ship because murmurs of agreement that sweep through the casino customers
Sure,
are like
yeah,
a balm
okay.
to the commander's drug-racked body.
I love for a second, he's like, is this going to not go well? Okay, they're fine. All right, great. Let's go.
Our fake attacks have been a success. I'm a certainty for the Emperor's commendation list. Can you
Oh, that's some
imagine
weird wording.
Palpatine being like, "Oh, one of our commanders has taken over a casino."
Yeah.
Sure.
Put him on the list of commendations. He's doing a good job.
Give him a pat on the back like a good boy.
Just imagining him with a secretary who's like, take a note. The following people are on my commendations list. I just can't.
Why would he give a shit about this place?
I know the idea of the Emperor doing anything other than just full on evil machinations, like doing any day-to-day work that involves filings or lists or anything, is insane to think about.
Yeah.
Doesn't he just sit on the throne and go, yes?
I mean, no, he's busy building a ridiculous armada and army on Exegol.
That's right. Who could forget? I try. Every day I try to forget.
Every day I try to forget.
Boy. But once again, I believe I'm banned from talking about that movie on any podcast.
Yes, correct.
Just makes me so mad. Anyway, so it's time to enact our plan. Meanwhile, we cut to Greyshade, who... The only problem here is it's just taking forever to to get this yacht out of the dock. What's going on here?
I don't know. Apparently they need to get clearance from, what's this? Everyone's favorite sexy purple robot, Mastercom?
Oh, I may have a problem with those orders, Senator.
I realized while I was watching, or while I was reading this issue, I was like, oh, was Mastercom not in the last issue? He wasn't. There was a true sexy techno nipple void in my life for an
I know. I really... there was just something less hot about it, right? Mastercom.
So yeah,
he goes... He's basically being like, hey man, I'm being told you're not in charge anymore.
Right. But
with my, as one who feels friendship for the man who gave me humanoid form, I will attempt at least to open your docking bay's magnetic field before. And then, Gregorian, you talk about my senses being shattered. Holy shit.
Mastercom, our favorite sexy robot, is assaulted in a barrage of stormtrooper fire as they say, blow it away, these stupid computers gone crazy. And then we get some real racist shit from these stormtroopers.
Obscene, a machine believing it felt friendship for an organic.
At least we cut it down before it could aid that traitor Greyshade.
Thank God that that robot had feelings. Thank God we killed it before anything happened.
It said the word friendship, and that really makes me uncomfortable.
I don't even know what the orders were. That just made me so sick to my stomach. I had to kill it. So weird, man.
I don't know what it is about the late 70s, or is it just Star Wars in general, but like there is this real sense from sci-fi movies of this era of the idea of a machine gaining enough of a personality to declare itself like a person made people so uncomfortable.
It's very interesting to look at from today's audience, right? Like,
sure.
Look at it now when there's so much discussion about artificial intelligence. But at this time, it was just like, no!
I will always be haunted by 3PO's line at the end of the Star Wars Christmas special, where he says he's so happy for everyone for feeling a Christmas, like, cheer, Life Day cheer, whatever.
Yeah.
But is sad because he and R2 can't feel that way because they're not alive. It's this moment of existential nightmare, and like
what's great is in the stupidest thing in Star Wars, there's this existential nightmare. It's very weird, and anytime and here and there the Star Wars stuff has put more thought to that. Obviously, I love the stuff in Solo with L3.
Sure. No, and we'll get into the Droids comic where they kind of confront it more directly, but at least for now, we can't have robots trying to be people. That's just not being a thing.
But you know what's happening again? Now Luke's pushing a robot, much like he pushed that guy earlier. He's pushing 3PO out of... There's a lot of Luke pushing. Now, this is to save him, but still.
Yeah, because it turns out stormtroopers are everywhere now and starting to come down all of our heroes. Because Luke is trying to get back to Leia and Greyshade because they're going to need help, but they can't go that way because they're getting cut off by stormtroopers. Also, R2 has wandered off at some point.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about, but he's moving through a Jeffries tube here. No, sorry, that's a different franchise.
Look, Jeffries tubes generally require you to be crawling or at the very least crouching.
Yes, it's true. It's true. Well, but that works because of it's R2, right? So
That's fair. Because yeah, R2 is wandered off somewhere, and we cut to R2 in the circuitry conduit,
Yes.
legally distinct from Jeffrey's tubes.
neatly bypassing increased stormtrooper activity in the corridors parallel to him. They didn't think to check the circuitry conduit, and then him coming out of this vent just makes me laugh for some reason.
What makes me laugh is the fact that they keep referring to the tape he's carrying, because let's not forget, R2 has a recording on him
Yes.
of Gray Shade and Strom making this deal that will reveal the Empire's corruption on the
Well,
moon.
and Luke slapped in a full 6-hour cassette tape, so don't worry, they've got it all covered.
Well, you just got to be sure you break off the tab, or else it could get re-recorded over.
Yes, that's it exactly. And did we make sure to record on extended play? Anyone? Yes, great.
What a bizarre little sliver of history we lived in which
Yeah.
VHS and like the weird proclivities needed to record onto it were such a thing that is burned into our minds now. That will never be
Absolutely,
relevant
man.
again.
No, but I absolutely remember that. It's having to set, okay, this is the record speed. And then, yes, making sure, you got to take the tab out. Or I lost some stuff to accidentally hitting record when there was,
Yeah.
oh, no.
Yeah. I lost
Yeah.
many an episode of Pokemon re-recording over some VHS tapes.
Or how about this? Recording a TV show and pausing the recording when the commercial started, so when you played it back, there weren't commercials. All that
Absolutely.
stuff, man.
That's
Kids today will
I
never know.
appreciated no end when Sci-Fi Channel would do their monster movie marathon, and they would have those little interstitial bits right before the movie came back on, so I know the commercial.
Yep.
But anyway, back to Star
All right.
Wars. We have R2 exiting the Jeffries tube, circuitry conduit, as
Yeah,
he's
sorry,
trying
yeah.
to get this tape to a place where he can project it to the entirety of the station, but he is confronted by a mysterious shadow as he exits. And then we cut to Chewbacca carrying a
Borkin.
corpse.
He is borking all over the place, man.
Yeah.
Bork?
So
That does not seem like a Wookiee sound. Bork?
What sound does Chewbacca make that could be conflated as Bork?
Yeah, there's something... You don't hear a lot of B sounds from Chewbacca. Bork.
No.
That's a chicken noise.
Again, I've always been like very iffy on like how you write down the Chewbacca noises, but
Yeah, it's tough.
it's not Bork. I'll know that much.
I don't know what it is, but I know what it's not. That's for sure.
But apparently, there's an Imperial death warrant on Chewbacca.
I do love. Forget taking this lift to the docking bays, Wookiee. There's an Imperial death warrant on you. Servable right now. Classic Stormtrooper, instead of just shooting him on sight, he's like, I have to tell you, I am authorized to do this, and it's about to happen.
Like most problems with the Empire, it comes down to everything being jammed up in the bureaucracy.
It really is. Hold on. Before I kill you, you got to fill out this form saying that it's okay for me to kill you. But of course, Han Solo leans out with a one-liner. Come on, guys. Whatever happened to respect for the dead?
I do
Pew,
like
pew,
that
pew.
one-liner.
That's pretty solid. It's a rare moment. Oftentimes, my complaint is this isn't the case. But in this, I actually could hear Harrison Ford saying that.
Yeah. And then they're getting fired at by stormtroopers as well. Han saying, grab those weapons. We're the last stand.
It's last stand time. You know how that is. That happens to us a lot.
Yeah, well, it's happened more than once. I'll say that much.
Meanwhile...
Yeah,
Back
meanwhile, we've had 3 cutaways in the space of a page, and we're about to get a 4th.
This book moves around so much. It's really wild.
We're in the last issue. We got to get this shit done.
Yeah, well, it does sort of feel like they've been treading water, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, we got to wrap it up right now.
Thankfully, we have arrows pointing us towards the action again.
Now, don't look over here. Look over there.
Because Luke and 3PO have made it back to the hangar where Gray Shade and Leia are. Because the Empire's going wild and starting to come down like a ton of bricks on everybody on the wheel.
Yes, and I do like the line about like, I don't understand, why can't we trust your guys? It's like, dude, because I was paying them. They don't give a shit about me.
Yeah, it turns out Grey Shade's guards have fled because they are complete mercenaries and they will not die for this cause.
This is not going to help us at all. Yeah, so they and oh my god, I once again, I like the idea that Luke and Vader can sense each other, but this drawing of him just going, oh god, it's Vader.
Yeah, Luke suddenly gets a headache, and we cut to another cutaway. Because, at this exact instant, on the edge of the star system where the wheel turns, one of the Empire's mighty battle cruisers drops out of hyperspace. And we see this engulfed in fire Star Destroyer plummeting through a starfield.
Because he pushed those engines too hard, man.
Yeah.
Look, man, I had to get there, okay?
Look, Vader's the kind of guy whose pod racer will explode underneath him as he's crossing the finish line. We know this.
This is true. This is true. This is well known about him. But I do love the idea of this, like, yes, it's on fire. Fire is shooting out of the engines of it.
And you know what doesn't usually occur in space? Fire.
Does a lot in Star Wars, though.
That's how hard they're pushing this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that, but then I like, he goes, okay, well, I'll tell Wormus is like, I'll tell everybody we're coming. He's like, no, now we're gonna play it cool. We hauled ass to get here, and now we play the waiting game.
Yeah, because the idea is that Vader feels Luke coming, even if he doesn't know it's actually Luke. So he's gonna wait outside of the wheel for them to flee and catch them in a trap.
And then for one panel only, he's hanging out in one of those magic eye posters from the 90s.
Oh, see, I thought he was doing a commercial for MTV back in the 80s.
Don't adjust your sets. You're watching MTV. I want my MTV. Coming up, the new one from Duran Duran. His short stint as a VJ.
Uh-huh.
I actually, it's a very comic book thing, but I kind of like comic book Vader with the red eyes.
Oh yeah, I love red-eyed Vader. Because like in the movies, the lenses are red. They just usually don't play that way.
Right.
Because of the light they're reflecting.
Yeah, but they come up in the comic. But what's this? Of course, I even thought this when Master Command, or was it Mastercom? Mastercom. When he got shot earlier, I'm like, didn't they already establish that there's like a bunch of him though?
Yes, and look, here he is. Because that's who is confronting R2 right now. And he's been waiting for you, R2-D2. Just before stormtroopers destroyed my other body, and I secretly switched my functions to this spare.
That's still just as sexy.
Less purple, which I like the purple a little bit more, but
yeah, and so Mastercom is gonna help R2 because R2 and his best bud are on the same side right now.
I love this technicality of droid logic that Mastercom gets into. Yes, I can help you. Had the Imperials simply ordered me to shut down, I'd have had to obey, but I angered them into using violence, which my programming allows me to resist. So because he provoked the Imperials into destroying him, he now has the operational backdoor of, I can resist what they're doing even though they're in charge.
I know, that's very funny. It's just like, those dumb fools, if only. And the whole idea to it, just like, it could have been so simple, but looks like they didn't do it.
Fell for another classic Mastercom switcheroo.
Mastercom.
I want him driving a like 70s muscle car with a Hawaiian shirt on, solving mysteries.
Mastercom PI. Looks like this case just took a turn for the sexy. So yeah, he's gonna help R2 here.
And he does.
He's going to help R2 by broadcasting that tape.
Yeah, thankfully they have the right VA player here, and R2's not Betamax.
Hold on, I can never remember which one is the white and which one is the yellow connection. Just give me a second here. I need to run this back into the TV.
Damn it, do you have a coax adapter? We only have coax.
Yeah. Now hold on, I need to is this in stereo or mono? That'll screw the whole thing up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on, let me adjust tracking.
What was it tracking? I never knew.
Man, kids today, you don't know what any of this means.
I was about to say, like, how many of our listeners actually know what we're talking about? Let us know in the comments below.
Please know. Yeah, I would love to just comments going, I know. I know what you're referring to.
We feel seen. So
they're
R2,
old like us.
R2 is projecting the video of, what is he projecting? It's a video of the security team from the wheel stealing the money back from the Imperials.
Correct.
Letting everybody know that the Imperials were the ones to take the money from the wheel, not the rebellion.
And that's enough for the entire like all the guests and gamblers of the wheel to freak out and riot against the Empire.
Okay, so much happens here in between two panels at the bottom of this page, because we get a caption box that says, end result, resentment, which bubbles into rage, which explodes into riot, as we see somebody throwing a brick at a stormtrooper.
Take that, you stormtrooper bastard!
And in the background, we have stormtroopers being beaten to death, things being ripped off of walls, people screaming and charging at positions. It's okay. Imagine
so crazy.
You went to Vegas and inside a casino, suddenly on all the video screens, there was indisputable proof that the casino was stealing. It would be like if the cops of Vegas were stealing money from the casino, but it was only the money you were actually losing at that casino. It's not like they were stealing money that wasn't lost at the casino.
I know, that's the thing that's crazy to me is like, what are they mad about? That they don't own this casino.
They're mad, and this is how the next caption portrays it, at the sanctity of gambling being violated.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
It says, crazy. On their homeworlds, they wouldn't dare this, but the wheel has always been a sanctuary. On the next page, it continues. A safety valve for an oppressed galaxy to let off steam. To find it violated and tampered with sends its thousands of frustrated pleasure and thrill seekers wildly rampaging. So it's a bunch of horned up, liquored up gamblers and thrill addicts going, ah, burn it down.
How dare you? We come here and we believe in the sanctity of gambling. And you talk about narration doing a lot of heavy lifting for character motivation.
Yeah. So let's just accept that all of these insane individuals on the wheel are suddenly willing to go up against the most heavily armed military dictatorship in the galaxy.
That's the thing. You would think even if they were pissed off about it, they would go like, we are going to lose this fight. Especially for people who earlier were like, oh, those rebels. Oh, so awful. Well, now you are them.
You know what stormtroopers have that a bunch of gambling addicts don't? Guns.
Would that be guns? Yeah, guns. That tends to be an equalizer in fights that, you know. Wait, do they have guns? Oh shit! All right, never mind.
Fuck.
You know what? I'll just be indignant and like comment to my wife that was shitty that they did that.
Yeah, no, it's insane how far off the rails this gets so quickly.
And it's so convenient for our heroes, of course.
Oh, of course.
Let's go to the next page, and I want to talk about this second panel in particular, because I think it might be the worst drawing of Chewbacca I've ever seen.
Chewbacca, who now has, like, strands of hair just sticking out of the side of his head like ears?
Yeah, and the drool from his mouth, and the clawed hands.
Yeah, and just, like, the way the fur conforms around his eyes, like, so far. We get it. I guess he's vaguely Chewbacca, but it's like, it doesn't look like anything like from the movie.
No, it's crazy. And once again, they have a lot of reference for this, especially at this point.
So many posters.
He's on so many posters. He's been in a movie and a Christmas special. He's all over that Christmas special.
Yeah. Again, the thing I just can't I really can't get over is like the patch around his eyes that doesn't have fur, right? Because Chewbacca, like the fur goes like straight to the eyes, like I don't know,
Yep.
a dog, as opposed to an ape.
Yeah. Yep.
But as
Yeah,
we
he
established
is-
last episode, like Infantino, he knows gorillas sell, and so he's making Chewbacca more gorilla-like.
Yeah, Lucas will thank me for this. Here comes the Imperial Welcoming Committee.
Oh,
Those
right.
guys are persistent as Tatooine sand lice.
Sure.
I mean, I can believe it. I don't remember anyone talking about sand lice, but I believe it's there.
And they're probably persistent. Anyway,
I would
we
think
establish here that Han has still has all of Chewbacca's winnings on this little cart that they're riding on, only for it to be
Yes.
thrown away on the same page.
Yeah, because this is becoming like a thing. Once again, I think they're using this as a thread from the movie that like Chewie doesn't care as much about the Prophet as Han does, right?
And that is like very much a thing that will continue forward, is that like Chewie's there to help out his bud and be a good friend, and Han's there to try to make money.
Chewie, you left our winnings aboard as this whatever skiff thing they're on
It's
crashes into.
Yeah, it's like a hover pallet jack.
Yeah, that crashes into the. I don't know why they can't go collect those winnings, but because aren't those guys dead?
They get knocked down, but they'll get up again, just like Chumbawamba says.
Anyway, so those guys are taken care of, and meanwhile, another meanwhile.
Yeah, as bad as it seems for Han and Chewie, things are much worse elsewhere. Because
I
we
love
cut back
that.
to Gray Shade, Leia, and Luke as they are back with the private yacht. They can't leave because science reasons, and stormtroopers are breaking into the bay there.
That's it. The stormtroopers have blown the door. If that stirring I felt earlier in the Force really was Darth Vader approaching, he's gonna have to wait in line.
So yeah, they're waiting on Mastercom to like release the magnetic locks so that they can get
Yeah.
this yacht away, but they need somebody to buy them time. And in the most uncharacteristic turn on a dime, Gray Shade, seeing the
is
camaraderie
nuts.
between Luke and Leia, decides to sacrifice himself to buy them time.
Nuts. I couldn't believe this. I was like, are you kidding me? How about I mean, boy, if this was the planned ending, maybe drop some threads that he was headed this way somewhere in here.
So here's all of Gray Shade's like sudden character turn in like 4 dialogue bubbles. It all happens right here. He says, "Skywalker, how can I ever win over the princess with the likes of you and Solo constantly throwing away your lives for her? Get aboard. Rather than compete with such disgusting nobility, I'll stay behind. Besides,
keep in mind-
I've gained something from this foolishness that an unscrupulous man like me normally never has. A friend, Mastercom."
So, okay, well, before we get into that, I also just want to state the practicality of this. He is saying this over the sound of blaster fire and while running, which is nuts.
Yeah.
And 2, yeah, wait, it's not just seeing the camaraderie of Luke and Leia. It's also like, I really do have a friend in that sexy robot. What the?
Mastercom on this bottom panel saying, "Did you hear that, R2D2? Now we both have human friends." It's literally what he says.
Oh man, this is great. He feels the same way about me that I feel about him. Isn't it nice to be loved, R2? Because you know me, Mastercom, I'm all about the love.
Now here's my question.
Yeah.
Mastercom is gold in this issue as opposed to purple that we've seen him
Correct.
for. Is that a coloring error?
I don't know, because it does switch consciously between purple and gold when he switches to the new body.
Well, he switches to the new body, but I feel like because we almost never see 3PO in this issue, the colorist was just told the tall droid is gold.
That's true, particularly in this wide shot here on the last panel. He really does look like 3. It's a real, like, if you look at it fast, he looks like 3PO.
Yeah, so I don't know, but it's just something that came up in my brain was just like, I think the colorist might not know that there's more than one tall humanoid droid in this
Oh, I
book.
think there's a very good chance of that. But I like that he says, hear that, R2-D2, now we both have human friends. Then R2 goes, da-toot, and he's like, oh no, well yes, that is an escape hatch. Like, R2's like, I don't give a fuck, man. Like,
R2 was just going like, yeah, good for you. Can we get out of here?
Yeah, all right, yeah, just talk about that later. That's great.
Friendship later, escape now.
But then he goes, before I try to join my friend, you should have a chance at rejoining yours. Because I'm all about friendship now. It's all I talk about. The weirdest part of this entire comic is the Master Com and Gray Shade relationship.
Oh, and we'll get into it here at these last few panels because, yeah, R2 launches away. Then we get the space yacht launching. Luke and Leia have made it off. And 3PO's with them. And then we cut back into the wheel.
For the characters we really care about.
For the characters we actually care about. Master Com and Gray Shade.
I do like Luke's line about, like, gee, I wish Gray Shade had randomly become a good guy before Han died. That would have been nice.
Yeah, they still think Han Solo's dead.
Yeah. But yes, it is. Here's an injured Gray Shade, and this drawing of Master Com coming through the smoke with his outstretched hand going, my friend.
Oh, we do have to state that 3PO in some, like, just throwaway dialogue here saying, begging your pardon, sir, but Master Com's making last communication. He reports there's a reason to believe that Captain Solo is still alive.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, also, by the way, Han Solo might be alive. Anyway, back to Master Com. But
yeah.
This undying bond between this man and his robot.
We get a tableau that is like the cover of a romance comic with Master Com supporting a wounded and like leaning on him Gray Shade in the smoke as the ruins of the wheel crumble around them. Gray Shade apparently having killed a fuck ton of stormtroopers.
Yeah, he talks about just like he got like shot once in the arm by that, but beyond that, he killed that entire squadron. My God.
Yeah.
But here comes Commander Strom, and he goes, I had to fight clear of a mob to find you. That's right, there's a full-blown riot happening outside.
I shot so many gambling addicts to find you two assholes.
They were throwing poker chips at us. What were they? This guy's got a roulette wheel. Look out!
If you have a dice winged at your head by a really drunk Ithorian, it's gonna hurt a lot.
You've damaged the sanctity of gambling, you bastard! I love the moralistic gamblers who are just like, this is supposed to be about something. Curse you! Now I hate the Empire. But yeah, sure. Of course, it's a bit unsupporting since I've emptied and discarded my blaster. Once again, I'm always fascinated by blasters running out of ammo. Right. It is technically possible, but what we talk about, they can't run out of ammo, they can run out of charge. Mm-hmm. But the way they talk about it is like it's bullets.
Sure.
It's more the wording around it that I find strange. But anyway.
It's just to give it a common nomenclature so that we, as the people not living in the Star Wars, can understand it.
It is, but I love the final moment where they know they're gonna die, but at least they're gonna take this son of a bitch out with them.
Because Strom's got them cornered. They don't have any weapons, but Master Com has Gray Shade in his arms, and we cut to the next page, and Gray Shade's like, "But no doubt you'll feel the same, unsporting as it were, about this proton grenade I've been holding as a last resort."
This guy was always going to go out like this.
But Master Com breaking in with Senator because he knows what he prefers to be called. That's his pet name for him is Senator.
I'm right here with you, Senator. And they go out like Jim Brown of the Dirty Dozen.
He throws a grenade point blank range at Strom, who fatooms.
I love and my favorite back and forth dialogue is this. Sorry, Master Com. I'm afraid I come to this business a bit late. You're leaking oil.
And blood, sir. I doubt either of us can afford it. Hopefully we're not beyond repair.
Hopefully. But if one must die, it's good to have the company of a friend. what is happening in this book?
And then
it's insane.
The captioning gives us our art house ending as it says, "Smoke closes in on the two figures, obscuring them, and in a long quiet, the aftermath of battle settles over the entire week." So it's like we don't even get an actual resolution. We just get this vague, like, we might die, we might not, but at least we're together. Smoke curls in and like curtains being drawn on the scene.
And up comes the theme to Brokeback Mountain. Boom, 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 you know, like, I can't believe this.
No, the I think the greatest victory of this whole story arc is Gray Shade and Master Com as a couple.
It is crazy to me, and it's the same thing like we talked about. It's even more the Jolie thing from the pirate. It's this even more where it's like, you guys didn't think about this, right? Like, how much effort? What were you trying to achieve with this? It's crazy to me.
Well, it doesn't help the fact that all of this character development has basically happened in the last 5 pages.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have that moment 2 issues ago where, like, Mastercom saying he considers Greyshade a friend basically shook Greyshade to his core.
Yeah, when he's just like, I can't process this right now, was basically his reaction to that.
Right.
And I guess that continued, kind of, you just don't address it a lot, but I guess we're to assume he's been mulling that over in his head since that happened.
There is an elaborate tapestry on the inside of Simon Greyshade that we only get to see pieces of here at the end.
I wish I knew how to quit you. It really has that vibe.
Yeah, it 100% does.
But it's just like,
it's beautiful, and I love them for it.
It's just like all of a sudden this book has this tone.
Yeah.
So, oh no, well, they've escaped in the yacht, but what's this? They're being pulled into a tractor beam.
Oh yeah, remember there's that guy out there, I don't know, what's his name? Dark Father, something like that?
Dark Father, something like that. Dark Helmet, is that it?
Different movie.
Yeah. Oh, also a great villain though. But yes, now this is our mental battle between Luke and Vader.
Because Darth Vader and his Star Destroyer are waiting for those who are exiting the wheel, and it looks like they've caught the private yacht in a tractor beam.
There is no way they're going to get away. What's this? Bracow!
Yeah, okay, so one mind searches for his. So Darth Vader's kind of reaching out with the Force, and they're having some kind of mental conflict between Vader and Luke. I've never seen an image of Vader clutching his helmet.
No. No, they're giving him that Professor X, like, out there somewhere with my mental powers. Yeah, that is weird.
So they've got him, but then there's a Bracow, because what's this? It's the Millennium Falcon swooping in to shoot the Star Destroyer.
And something Han Solo would never say, which is, "Score one for justice, Chewie."
Love the idea of Han Solo saying, "Score one for justice." It's so dumb.
If there's one thing Han Solo loves, it's justice.
Yeah, tell that to Greedo.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't kind of famously like a roguish outlaw character, but whatever. Including, once again, justice of what? Anyway, I don't know. But, hey, everybody's happy because our friend is alive. Han, you are alive! I want Three to be like, that's what I said.
Han says here, and for shaking the pants off anyone on that cruiser bridge trying to operate a tractor beam. As if implying that, like, a tractor beam requires constant attention, like somebody pulling a rope.
If that ensign doesn't hold down the button on the tractor beam, it's like, oh, I let it go! Oh, no!
Right.
Ah.
But apparently that's how it works, because as they are distracting the Star Destroyer, the yacht's been released from a tractor beam, and now he's swooping back in, taking a couple of shots, and Darth Vader recognizes the Millennium Falcon.
This was my other favorite part of this. When he just goes, he's like, I know that vessel. I know this jackass.
This son of a bitch shot me during the trench run.
And I love that he immediately his whole thing has been, if there's somebody using the Force, I have to find it. Now he's like, no, screw that. Personal vendetta. This guy embarrassed me like 6 months ago.
I was floating around in that TIE fighter for months.
Screw anything. No, let Luke Sky. Who gives a shit? Kill that guy, that's for sure. Forget everything else. We're going to destroy that ship at any cost.
I do love a good vengeful Vader.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. It won't be until later that we'll like really place the importance on the whole like extermination of the Jedi and the corruption of the Force that the Emperor was behind. So like
sure, yeah.
The single-minded nature of Vader hunting down users won't be something that's established till later. So like him kind of forgetting about whoever is using the Force in the other ship and just going after the guy he knows has personally slighted him is fine now for me.
What do we know about Vader at this point? He's kind of just evil. Like, that's about his only characteristic, right? He had a background with Obi-Wan, and, you know, like, that's about it. It's sort of like, yeah, he, like, doesn't like the Jedi or people who use the Force. And that's about it, though. He has
but not even that, because his character traits are twofold. We know that he betrayed the Jedi, and by extension, Obi-Wan and Luke's father. And he also doesn't put up with people who dismiss the Force either, though.
Right.
Because anyone who calls the Force into question as something that like can't be trusted or as an old hokey religion gets Force choked.
He does have a line in here where he's like, "I'm the only one who can possess this power."
That was a couple issues ago. Yeah.
So like, that was the thing.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I guess that's the thing, but he's a pretty one-note character at this point.
For now,
exactly on this. And then, oh no, I do love this drawing of where the Star Destroyer is just turning away from the yacht and going after the Falcon. Mm-hmm. Like, just the imagination of the guy at the wheel. I also love, I forgot to point this out in a second, the fire brigade crew putting out the fires on the ship is pretty funny behind Vader.
Yeah, suddenly there's a bunch of AIM agents in the background putting out fires.
Hold on, excuse me, that guy. But okay, so we're gonna get, oh boy, some weird Force shit here.
Yeah, so the last page of this issue, we get into our weirdest Force shit. And this has been an arc for weird Force shit, which I do appreciate, because that's one of my favorite parts of Star Wars. I know that's where you and I sort of diverge a little bit, is like, I really do like the metaphysical Force bullshit in Star Wars.
Yeah, I let me say, I'm always somebody who kind of likes it to stay vague and stay sort of like, mythical, and like we don't, once again, it's always sort of the thing where it's like the less we put into understanding it, I kind of like it as just like almost incomprehensible.
Sure.
And that's where the midichlorian thing has been debated.
Sure. No, you want that's where I like where it's just this idea as opposed to like structured rules of a
I just like the idea. It's like the way that they talk about an empire and stuff like that, or even, it's just like it's something you tap into. It's all around us. You can't see it. I like the spiritual nature of it, I guess. Mm-hmm. But this is very weird and unlike any other Force stuff we see, really. I mean, beyond mental connection certainly is a thing, but like he's gonna force a migraine on Vader?
Basically. So what happens on this page is Luke has to poop real bad in this first panel.
It really does. Oh! Why did I have to eat that burrito?
And rather than eating enough fiber or using some laxatives, Luke is going to like push all of that strain mentally towards the connection he feels with Darth Vader.
Rage at regaining a friend thought dead, only to see him about to be slain again. Frustration at having a vast power and not knowing how to save Han with it. And so he's channeling, which is also kind of strange, based on what we know of the Force, that Luke's rage and anger would be something that would give. I mean, obviously, we should be concerned, is what I'm saying. Like in later Star Wars.
Absolutely, no. The idea that he doesn't know how to channel the Force, right? All he knows is that by tapping into these emotions, it is increasing his power. And that totally
Right.
tracks with what we'll find out about the Force later.
Oh, sure.
In terms of like, strong emotions are a shortcut to a more powerful connection to the Force.
But that is the dark side, right?
But that is part of the dark side and how it unbalances you. And what we call the dark side is just leaning into that power in ways that like feed your darkest emotions quicker
Right.
and quicker.
Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering, right?
Absolutely. So what he's doing here, while is absolutely not unheard of in other Star Wars stuff I've seen in terms of like casting your emotions out, and hell, the
Sure.
whole final fight between Kylo Ren and Luke at the end of Last Jedi could kind of be seen as this in a certain way, whereas it's more
Sure.
like literal representation of projecting.
Well, I think that's
himself
the thing
outward.
about this. This is just kind of not visual, and it's just weird.
Right. So what it is Vader being surrounded by a pink cloud of Kirby crackle and letting out a ah as he poops himself.
Ah! I need new armor. Excuse me for a second as I go back to my quarters for no particular reason.
Until all of Luke's raging feelings, like lightning carried along a wire from one place it has struck to another, blast into Darth Vader's unprotected mind. So this idea
Yeah.
that Vader is being overwhelmed by Luke's emotion, and in that moment it distracts him long enough for both ships to get away.
And I do love this panel of just the close-up of his helmet with each ship reflected in each of the eyes. That's cool.
Yeah. The pain is brief but intense, yet in the moment of its passing and his recovery, the Lord of the Sith finds two sets of prey have made the jump to hyperspace. He still doesn't know their identities. They've eluded him, but only for now.
Mm-hmm. And then Luke is going like, well, geez, yeah, Ben was right. That is pretty powerful, but also knows he's like using it pretty unfocused, right? Like he's just like, I got to figure this out because Luke does basically know he got lucky on this one, right? It's like because Vader will probably be ready for it next time.
He did something brash and reckless and something that Vader wasn't prepared for, and so he like basically knocked him off balance, but it by no means did he defeat him.
Right, exactly. And so we better figure that out. But meanwhile, we're going back in time.
Yeah, because next issue we are promised an untold tale of Obi-Wan Kenobi in the days of the Old Republic.
And he's going to be doing some silent drifting.
Now, because this is going to become an issue in this podcast specifically, we need to differentiate some timeline stuff when it says the Old Republic.
The Old Republic, yes.
Most of the time, when we're talking about Star Wars, if we say the Old Republic, we're referring to a time period that is tens of thousands of years past.
Right.
If we're referring to the High Republic, we're referring to a time period that is merely hundreds, possibly 1,000 or so years in the past.
Yes.
The time of the failing Republic is when Obi-Wan Kenobi Padawan.
Right. Right.
But that is not the nomenclature we have right now.
No.
So we're just going to refer to the Old Republic.
That's fine. That's us going. That's okay. That's fine. Comic book. That's
exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, that will be next issue, and yeah, we're gonna get what they think Obi-Wan was up to prior to the movie.
I am so curious to read that because obviously now we have all this context of the prequels and the Clone Wars and the Obi-Wan show and stuff like that.
It was sitting on Tatooine for 20 years is what he was doing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm just like, what is going to be their depiction of the Jedi Order? What is going to be what he's up to? Will they mention the Clone Wars? I have so many questions. But we're not actually doing that next week on the show.
It's true. We're taking a brief break. We'll get to what they think the Old Republic is, and we're going to take a wild sidetrack into what some people from another country entirely think Star Wars looks like, as we cover yet another adaptation of Star Wars: A New Hope. Strap in, John, because this time we're covering the manga version.
That's right, yeah. Which I've done nothing more than ever flip through at like a Barnes and Noble when it came out. Was like, oh, That's interesting.
So yes, we learned our lesson last time with the special edition, though. We're not going to be covering this issue to issue. We're just going to cover it all in one
All
swoop
in one,
because
so we'll
we
probably
think
have
covering the events again might get a little repetitive.
It might get a little repetitive, and also, yes, this is, as we've talked about, this is what we'll be doing with each of the movies, is sort of covering the individual adaptations of them as they are coming out. So before we get to Empire, we'll do all the New Hope specifically related stuff.
And after the manga, we don't have that many more. I'm excited to cover Infinities as well. That is one of my favorite what if Star Wars comic books. And I think we'll also be covering The Star Wars, which
yes,
is a fun one.
The Star Wars is kind of a what if, right? Like,
It's a big what if.
Infinities is consciously a what if. I mean, it's like it's designed as that. It is basically Star Wars what if. But yeah, it's a very real world what if. So yeah, lots of stuff coming your way there, and of course we will get back to what the 70s think the Old Republic is.
Oh yeah, and we've got plenty of fun stuff. John, you've been asking for Valance back. Oh, Valance is coming back, and he is on a collision course with Darth Vader.
I love it. Can't wait.
Yeah.
But of course, if you want even more exclusive content from the Punch Up Entertainment Network, you can go to our Podbean patron page, which is patron.podbean.com/punchup. There you can get cool exclusive bonus shows, not only from us here, but from the Action Shelf, Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters, Material Components, and some old archived episodes of past shows we've done.
Absolutely. And of course, one of the other good ways to support the show, if you're watching us over on YouTube, which I highly encourage because then you can read the comic along and see what we're talking about, is like, comment, and subscribe down below. You hit that little bell, let you know whenever we release new episodes. You can get all of the Punch Up Entertainment shows on YouTube, and we're going to start making more and more video on. This is just our the tip of the spear is may the panel be with you.
Absolutely, yeah, because we are going to continue to do more episodes of Punch Up Goes to the Movies, where we do movie reviews as stuff comes our way, and of course, our monthly Panel Up episodes as well.
Absolutely. But I think that is going to do it for this episode of May the Panel Be With You. As always, I've been Mike Rigoni.
I'm John Campbell.
And remember, may the panel be with you.